This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined here today by Shane McGUIGAN. Been a while. We're down here at McGUIGAN's gym in London. How you doing, Shane?
Good, thanks, Rob. Nice to see you back down here again. You know what I mean? It's been a long time.
Has been a long time. I can't remember the last time I interviewed you. It's been long before the AJ.
Was it not the Baranchek fight? Probably back then, I think. Yeah.
What have you been up to?
I've got Lawrence. It would have been for Lawrence actually to announce that he was joining. So yeah, I've got Lawrence in camp now. His fight with Jack Massey was cancelled due to Massey's arm or bicep or something. I think it was like torn. It looked horrendous, the photos. So yeah, I mean he's in camp. He's now on the July 20th bill. I've got Chris BILLAM-SMITH on that bill against RIAKPORHE. So Lawrence's opponent is still up in the air. And sorry, Bear's just the new dog's just running around. He's not trained yet. So yeah, it's just there's no opponent yet, and we've got a deal very close to being finished with Luke Campbell against Lomachenko. So yeah, it's all go. Josh Taylor's just come into camp yesterday, so we're all in, guns blazing.
You're always very, very busy. We'll start with Lawrence. Obviously, his fight with Jack Massey has been cancelled. What update can you give me on his opponent? I know there's been some talk about Sam Hyde on social media. Is there any movement there?
That was the plan. Sam Hyde was on the bill in Manchester. You know, he had a holiday booked, but I mean, surely if you're not going to be fighting, you want the money to be able to go on a holiday. So by stepping up and boxing Lawrence Coley, you'll get more money. So. I don't know. I think Joe Gallagher's his manager. Him and Eddie are in talks, but from what I'm hearing, it's looking unlikely now. So we're looking at another opponent. Still
very early in your relationship with Lawrence as trainer and fighter. How's he developing in the gym? Obviously, I'm sure you've still got plenty to go, but how's he settled in so far?
Yeah, he's really took to it really well. So he's always looked quite awkward in his fights, but he's always been very effective, and I think I'm really getting him to work on his distance control a little bit better, and being ready to punch more often, because he sort of switches off a lot and just, I call it freestyling. Yeah, and now he's sort of boxing to orders. He knows that once the levels go up, you can't do your own thing as much. You've got to be a lot more disciplined. You've got to be a lot more selective with your punches. So. I think people are going to be shocked to see how good he's looking, and he's been doing so many rounds sparring with Chris. He's really effective on the inside, so it's taken that holding and slowing the pace down. Like that's his chance to work in it. So it's been really good for the pair of them, because Chris is able to try and get his shots off with a guy who's big and strong that diffuses people on the inside, and also Lawrence is getting nailed on the inside there a little bit. So it's making him less comfortable in there. So, and the thing is when you're killing the clock really by hitting and smothering, you're not really getting up to match fitness. Like now he's getting up to, his fitness has come through the roof. So I'm excited, but I don't, it's about doing it under the lights. From what I'm seeing in the gym, I'm really, really happy with it. So I need to be able to make sure he can transfer that into fight night. And it's not going to be overnight. Suddenly he's just, a slickster and all this. He's still got a lot of things to work on, but all of the physical attributes are there. So he's got the size, he's got the power, he's just huge for the weight. He's very strong as well. So him and Chris have brought each other on this camp massively. So I'm really happy with it.
Now I was going back over. I was very boring life that I lead. I would go back and watch old interviews sometimes. I remember you saying that potentially with Lawrence, you could see the best of Lawrence as a heavyweight. Yeah. Just wanted you to explain that for me.
I just think, because the cruisers are a little bit quicker, he's not able to nail them as clean. Like when I've seen him sparring heavyweights, he gets his shots off, he sticks the shot a little bit more. Because they're used to getting hit hard, so they give you a few more shots. So everyone that jumps in the ring with Lawrence up until now has just been so petrified of getting hit clean. They're sort of constantly moving, and he's not able to land on it. But that's because his legs aren't correct. His legs aren't in the right position. So, now working on that, I still think, he's going to be. He does the weight well. So there's not going to be a rush to get up to heavyweight, but it is going to be the transition in time, because guys at 6'5", they don't really fill out to their 28, 29, 30 on their frame. So yeah, I mean, I think that would be the plan in time, but for now, we'll stay at cruiser. Obviously, I wanted to try and win a world title at cruiserweight, and also, as I was just saying, that's the reason I've made that point, is because they're just there to be hit a little bit more. And he's sparring Daniel Dubois. He's done a lot of rounds with him this camp. When I've seen him spar heavies, he looks really comfortable in there.
Now, we've spoken about Chris BILLAM-SMITH, who's obviously been doing a lot of. That's Luke Campbell in the background there, for anyone who can hear that. We've spoken about Chris BILLAM-SMITH ahead of his fight with JOSHUA-RUIZ. By Chris's own admission, by your own admission in the past, first real test, first real step-up fight for Chris. You've been involved with some massive fights over the years. How have you noticed at all a difference in Chris as we get closer to that first big fight on such a big platform?
Yeah, I mean, like his confidence is up. He's getting so fit. I mean, yesterday he just done 10 rounds sparring, 6 with Lawrence, 4 with Mikel. So yeah, his fitness is through the roof, and he's just doing it so much more comfortably, and he's like able to recover within the rounds really well, because he's always been a kind of a high pace, like sort of fast hands for a cruiser, but he didn't have he wasn't getting as much sparring, because it's hard to get sparring with a bigger lad. So yeah, he was struggling to learn how to pace himself, because he was like explosive and just wanted to get out of the blocks and let his hands go, but it was sustaining that. So I think that's something that we've really been working on in this camp. And obviously Riakporhe, you can't he's on so much good form. He's come off the back of a really good win. He's obviously beat Sam High, but then he's also come off the back of McCarthy. So he's in good form, and he's improving as well. So but in terms of preparation, we couldn't have had any better preparation than sparring Ross Curley the whole way through. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. It's the first real fight that I've been involved. That's a 50-50 fight at domestic level, for not headlining or anything. So it's it's something that we're excited about, and I really we need him to win this fight. We need him to win it, because it's this is his first acid test. I believe he does. He wins it, but Riakporhe's a very, very solid puncher.
Again, we're inundated by the new McGUIGAN dogs. So we've just gone a little bit dark there, so we'll just make that a bit lighter. There he is, the new addition to McGUIGAN's gym. There we are. Picking it straight up there. You don't do a lot of in-house sparring conventionally. I mean, it's through the fact that you've not often had people in and around the same weight. I know that you've done little bits and pieces recently with Luke Campbell and Josh Taylor. You've now obviously got JOSHUA-RUIZ and Chris BILLAM-SMITH. How does it differ having in-house sparring as opposed to bringing in the sparring partners? Lawrence Okoli, beg your pardon.
It's tough, because it's like, I don't want them to be nailing each other and hurting each other and knocking the confidence out of each other, and I don't want them to create any friction and needle, because they're teammates at the end of the day. But they know that it's to benefit each other. Chris and Lawrence have sparred really, really well. They've really worked well. With Luke and Taylor, we've only done a couple of tech spars, but this camp we're going to do quite a bit, because Prograis is a counter puncher, and just like Luke, and obviously he's southpaw, and then Lomachenko is an aggressive sort of southpaw, sort of swarms you, just like Taylor. So I mean, I think we'll do a lot of sparring, but as long as I can manage it and make sure there's not a lot, because I've had sparring in the past. There's been needle in the camp, you know what I mean. So, and I just don't want it to happen.
Leading us into Lomachenko, Campbell, I understand that you don't have any exclusives for me today. You don't have anything that you can tell me today, but how's preparation gone for that? As I understand it, at least, we're kind of just waiting for a deal to be announced. So you are, at the minute, training for Lomachenko, just waiting for the deal. Is that right? Yeah,
I mean, we're in camp. I mean, Luke's in full camp now, so he's not taking the foot off the gas. It's just Lomachenko is also preparing for the same date, so it's just making sure that it benefits Luke Campbell, and we should have that deal done very soon. It's it's something that, this is an amazing opportunity, and fighters would fight for free to get this opportunity because they're getting a chance to box for WBC, WBO, and WBA belt. You're getting 3 of the 4 belts, and just on a pay-per-view platform. It's an amazing opportunity against one of the pound-for-pound guys, but you have to make sure you get properly paid for it, properly looked after, and given equal opportunities to win this fight. So that, as me looking after Luke, that's what I'm there for. So, and hopefully I'm speaking to Eddie quite frequent, and we're very close to getting it done, and we should have something announced by next week.
I mean, Lomachenko is obviously top ranks, well, one of top ranks bright stars, as it were. Luke Campbell boxed on Sky Sports, and obviously the Zone and the deals are there. What kind of obstacles does it throw up when you've got Lomachenko and you're in a purse bid position, and you've got somebody who boxes on one network and on another network? What kind of obstacles does that throw up?
Well, it's just Lomachenko's used to boxing, and he's getting the champions' rights all the time. Now if this went to purse bids, whatever the purse bids were, it would be a 45% split to either boxer and then 10% to the winner. So, would it benefit us to go to purse bids? There's a lot of networks that would bid a lot of money for that, so that's an option. But we're close to agreeing it, with it on a Matchroom show. Bob Arum and Eddie and stuff have been working extensively, and obviously Eddie's doing a fantastic job. Sorry, the dogs are playing. Eddie's doing he's doing a fantastic job. He's working obviously to keep Bob Arum and Lomachenko happy, who are used to calling all the shots, and then obviously I'm creating some obstacles for him as well. But this is the name of the game. As a big time promoter, you've got to keep both sides happy. So, I don't think we want it. We want it to be in England. Lomachenko wants to come over here and box in England. He wants to box another guy that's won a gold medal in the 2012 Olympics in London. So there are 2 Olympic gold medalists from London. So it's got a great story, and obviously this is Luke's opportunity to showcase his ability against one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world. Wait, stop it.
That fight's still most likely to end up in the UK?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
From a training perspective, what's it like for you preparing to face somebody like Vasyl Lomachenko? I know that you watch a lot of tape. I know that you are one of these kind of, maybe not, obsessives in that regard, and you do look for things as you should. What's that like for you preparing for somebody who is arguably the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world? Does that change your preparation at all?
It's hard to get sparring, because how can you get sparring and emulate Lomachenko? You can either go one of 2 ways. You can just get very good southpaws, or you can go and get amateur kids that come in, and we'll have a mix of both. We'll have a blend of the 2. From a game plan as well, you can work on certain shots, but he's so adaptable, he might completely switch it up, But he can get hit, he can get hurt. He's not invincible. Luke's got the size on him. Luke's got the single shot punching power on him. Luke's got very good distance control. No offense to Anthony Crolla, but he's not going to be standing there taking shots like Crolla did. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. I mean, it's there's a lot of things like in our favour that you got to take all the positives out of it. And if I can make Luke's attributes work, and set some traps, and we can get some shots through. Linares dropped him. I believe we can hit him and hurt him. And once you hit him and hurt him, I believe Luke Campbell can dictate the fight and come away with the win.
I sat down with Teofimo Lopez in Las Vegas a few weeks ago. I spoke about Lomachenko, Campbell. He was very, very positive, very, very full of praise for Luke Campbell. I know they've shared rounds together in the past. That's kind of the minority view, I think it's fair to say, from some people in the boxing not boxing media, but the boxing fraternity. Do you feel like Luke's been underestimated going into this fight?
Yeah, I mean, Luke's an improving boxer. Lomachenko has been this good since the amateurs. He was he's just got a little bit more experience in the pro ranks. So, you know, we still haven't seen the best of the Luke Campbell yet. And the real guys in boxing know, you know, that this is a good fight. This isn't no walkover fight, and that's why it's going to be on pay-per-view. You know, if it was a walkover fight, if it was, you know, a guy that's not on it, Lomachenko's anywhere close to Lomachenko's level, this would just be a free-to-air show. This is a fight because people know in the boxing business, people know Luke Campbell's got a chance of hitting him, hurting him, and outboxing him. So, you know, that's what we're going to be. That's what we're going to be working on. That's what this camp so far has gone really well. He's stepped it up another notch, and you know, I think this is his defining moment.
Final one on McGUIGAN's gym stable. Josh Taylor. First time I've seen Josh since he became IBF world champion against. It's the first time you've seen him as well. I understand he's been enjoying his time away from the gym, so to speak. What's it like to have old Hank back in the gym?
Yeah, just the same. You know, like sometimes fighters can win world titles and lose the complete hunger and love for the sport, and other times, you know, they can come in and just it's just another day, just another achievement, and they're just going to go on and keep doing it. You know, like that. They're so programmed to come in and train, since from the amateur days, that they just knuckle down, just get on with it. Obviously, the accolades and the money comes, but as long as you can keep your love for the sport. And so, like Josh, you know, yeah, he might be enjoying his time off, but he's still thinking boxing. He still shadow box probably 2 hours a day, like when he's not in the gym. Do you know what I mean? He's just like shadow boxing all the time. He's non-stop. So you know. It's going to be interesting over the next couple of. You know, he's had some really hard fights. This next one's going to be his hardest to date, but it's one that he's going to win. I know it, and he's just going to keep building. The Josh Taylor brand, and he's just keep getting stronger.
You mentioned that his fight with ProGrais is going to be his most difficult fight. I spoke to Anthony Yigit last week, who obviously boxed Ivan Baranchyk for the world title. He boxed Taylor as an amateur. And has sparred with him. He told me that he felt Baranchyk would be a more difficult opponent for Taylor than Prograis. Why do you disagree with that?
He probably thinks that someone that stays on Josh has got the chance of beating him because he knows how quick and sharp he is at distance. But I think Prograis is a much harder fight because he's not predictable and he sets traps, and he's a harder puncher. And when he hits you, he's going to hit you cleaner. He's not going to just hit a target. He's setting traps. So it's going to be a much more technical fight, but it'll be a more explosive fight. It won't be a marauding forward constantly guy just taking shot after shot. This is going to be a guy that doesn't like getting hit, you know. So we're going to have to we're going to have to, you know, stay on him, set up every attack correctly because he's very clever. And when you hit him, go again. You know, so I think it's going to be a fight it's going to be dangerous from start to finish on both sides. So something I'm really looking forward to. But Josh is he's so super confident. He knows he's got the beating of him.
I know the series they dance to their own tune, so to speak, with regards to venues and dates, etc. Is it too early to have a realistic idea of when that final might take place or where it might take place? Probably the latter is just as difficult to predict.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love it obviously to be in Glasgow. I don't know if Prograis looks at, you know, England and Scotland as like the United States, they're just one, you know. So I don't know if he'll even entertain the fact of coming over here. But there's a couple of venues that are booked over here, and I think it's looking at September, October. It would make no sense to go out to where's he from again? New Orleans, because he's not a massive draw. Very good fighter, but not a very good draw. And the tournament will take, you know, they've done 2 fights over there, so they know the ticket sales that's going through it. And look at the Hydro the last 2 times, it's been booming. So would it sell if we went to Manchester or the O2? I don't know. If you get a good undercard on it, yeah, it could do. If they link up with Matchroom, then yeah. But as a standalone fight, I know that the bantamweights are going to Tokyo, I'm pretty sure, and I think the cruisers are going to Jeddah. So I think, you know, if we can get the final in Glasgow, that's where we're going to get a huge draw, and you wouldn't need as in depth of an undercard, you know. Sorry, these dogs are non-stop. Boy, stop it! Stop it!
Very boisterous day down at McGUIGAN's today. You mentioned particularly the bantamweight final. I think that's going to capture the imagination of a lot of boxing fans. Inoue versus Donaire. Last time I spoke to you, you hadn't, I don't think, seen the Inoue win, because obviously you were preparing Josh Taylor at the time. I know you would have looked back at it, all 1.5 rounds of it or whatever. What do you make of that fight, Inoue versus Donaire?
I think Inoue is just too young and sharp for him. You know, Donaire's got a very good chin. Donaire's, you know, he's seasoned, but he's got comfortable losing a few times. You know, he looks like, you know, against, for instance, Carl. You know, he was getting beat, and he pulled a good shot out, but he didn't have that next gear to get him out of there, or you know, and I just think that his best days are behind him.
You have to play referee. Moving away from all things McGUIGAN's gym, I'm very aware that, trying not to be too long here today, I haven't spoken to you since Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. You told me in Glasgow you expected that fight to potentially go inside 3 rounds for Joshua. It didn't. Yeah. Thoughts?
It was nice. I was very close. I thought the left hook, when he hit him, I thought, that's it. That's, you know, not the left hook that hit Joshua, the left hook that hit Ruiz. I thought, this is his moment. You know, this is the time for him to stop him. Got a little bit over eager. Went in for the kill against a guy that has phenomenal powers of recovery. I mean, I've never seen that left hook would have put most heavyweights to sleep for you know, a couple of minutes, not just, you know, drop them. So you know, rushed in a little bit, got hit with a very good shot, and there you go. You know, ever since that happened, he just looked like his legs weren't underneath him, and he was apprehensive. And Ruiz boxed very, very well. So looking back on it, was it a huge surprise? No, but when you're in the moment, you're just thinking. And I've reflected. I've looked at Povetkin fight a little bit, and he made a couple of mistakes in the Povetkin fight. He didn't, you know, he fought very similar in the Povetkin fight to what he fought in the Ruiz fight. He was leaning too much. You know, there was a few things that he was doing that, you know, that just was sort of bringing his height down a little bit to his opponent's height, and there's ways of doing that with keeping yourself centralised and balanced. And as soon as you start dipping at the waist, you aren't as fleet-footed, your legs aren't as sharp. So, you know, I think, you know, but if they box 10 times, would it happen? You never know. You're gonna have to weigh that up in the rematch. Speaking
of which, what do you make of the rematch? By all accounts, that's probably going to be happening next. A lot of people, I mean, it's been overplayed now. This is the first time I've spoken to you since. The whole Lennox-Lewis, it wasn't quite Lennox-Lewis. Obviously, Lennox was a one shot. This was something very different.
It was a one shot, though. It was a one shot. It just wasn't the one shot that knocked him out. It was a one shot that concussed him and had him hurt for numerous rounds. So, you know. But you were saying?
I was saying, stand corrected. Do you see Anthony Joshua being able to, because it, admittedly, yes, it was the one shot, the left hook that kind of started it, was the beginning of the end, but being in there and taking the shots for the next 4 rounds, 3.5, 4 rounds, is different to how Lennox-Lewis lost to Hasim Rahman, for example. Do you see, I mean, psychologically as well as from a tactical perspective, him being able to make the right adjustments in time for a rematch? If it happens around November time, which is when they're talking, that's a quick turnaround for a loss of that magnitude.
Yeah, I think if he uses his feet and he just, you know, Ruiz said, you know, he's trying to entice him to have a fight with him the next time, and he knows that's Ruiz's chance of nailing him, because actually even when Joshua was hurt and he was moving around, he was covering the ground quite well, and Ruiz couldn't track him. You know what I'm saying? So, I think if he sticks to a proper game plan and irons out a few flaws in camp, which he'll probably know now that the mistakes that he was making, I think he beats him. It just depends where. It's all great, having a champion's mindset. I'm going back to New York or even just America in general, to avenge my defeat over there. But bring it here, bring it back home. You know what I mean? This is where he's comfortable. He's used to being in Wembley. He's used to, like the fight week, the atmosphere. English and American people are very different, and I remember that with working with Carl in New York. Just on fight week, he didn't feel it feels different out there. So the journalists are different. Everything's a little bit different. So it's just making sure that someone has to take the reins. At the moment, they're letting him dictate the decisions. Be his promoter and be his manager and look after him and make sure he makes the right decision, because if he makes the wrong decision, it could ruin his career. And not just ruin his career, ruin his confidence and ruin him as a brand. One defeat doesn't defy you as a boxer. It's just where you go after it. And he needs to become a student of boxing again and forget about all that brand ambassador stuff and just get back to focusing on the stuff that got him in the position that he's in, and that's boxing, and get back to learning, get back to being a student, as I said.
Gut feeling, if the fight does happen, and it does indeed happen in Madison Square Garden, say around November time, if you had a pound, your last pound, who would you put it on?
I'll put it on Anthony Joshua, because it's up here in his mind, and I believe he's an extremely strong character. Was he having a panic attack? Was he? I don't think so. I just think he hit with a good shot and rushed in. He still probably wasn't boxing as good as he can do. He wasn't boxing anywhere near as good as he can do. But I believe he'll his mental strengths. He's an incredibly strong-minded guy, and he's physically the athlete that he's always been. It's not like his body's breaking down. He's in his prime. He'll beat him. It's just if you give me an opportunity of £1, I'm saying it's him. But I can see ways that if he doesn't correct a few things technically and also mentally, that Ruiz could beat him. But there's a big, strong chance that he's going to just get back to boxing and just ping him about.
Okay, well, Shane McGUIGAN, always a pleasure catching up with you. It's probably been one of the longest breaks we've had since doing an interview. Hopefully the next one won't be as long. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social, as always.
Thanks, mate. We'll probably see you next week or so. Might be an announcement. I don't know. Is there or is there? Don't know. We'll see. Hopefully there is.
Okay, well, we look forward to it. Shane McGUIGAN, thanks very much.
Cheers, Rob. Thanks, mate.
Nice one, mate. Cheers.